In this video, I'm going to show you some blending and layering techniques with colored pencils. So first I'm going to use a hatching type of line, so just lines that go up and down, and if I use more pressure like I am on the left side here, I will get a little bit darker color than on the right where I use less pressure. So I'm starting with a very light amount of pressure overall, but I'm building it up with more layers of color and a little more pressure on the left to create that gradient. Now for the second example, I'm using sort of circular lines rather than straight up and down lines, and again I'm using very light pressure, but on the left side I'm going to layer the color over itself more and use slightly more pressure than I am on the right side to create that same gradient that goes from dark to light. So the key with colored pencil is really adding lots of layers, going over it again. So here I'm actually adding on another layer of a darker blue, so I'm using that same hatch lines sort of up and down, and I'm layering over and over again. So I'm not just coloring it in quickly, but the key to making colored pencil smooth is really using light pressure and layers of colored pencil. So again, I'm going to show you that same technique, but this time I am using those circular squiggly sort of motions for my light layer. Okay, so there you go. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but I've sped it up a little bit more with my red color here. So it's darker at the left, gets a little lighter with less pressure toward the right, and then I started with the blue going dark from the right to lighter on the left, and you can see where those two colored pencils overlap creates a sort of purple shade, because when you mix red and blue you get purple. I'm going to do the same thing here again with my yellow, and I'm layering on top of the yellow red to get an orange in the middle. So for this handout, it's just a chance for you to practice layering different colors and seeing how those colors interact with one another. So I'm going to just not fill out the whole thing, but I'm going to show you this section. So I used red here in this square, and I would have filled out the entire square if I were doing the whole handout. And then I'm doing yellow in the triangle, and you can see that small area that overlaps creates kind of a red-orange. So for the second handout, I'm going to create value scales to kind of make this look more three-dimensional with my colored pencil. So the areas in the corners, I'm making it dark. So I'm using more pressure, more layers of colored pencil to make it look dark. And then towards the center, it is lighter, and what that makes it look like is this basket weave if I imagine these as papers, as the paper is folding up, it's lighter, and then as it folds underneath the other paper, it's darker. So I went over again, did the same thing with my green, so I'm starting darker in these corners, and then it gets a little bit lighter. So I show a smooth transition from dark to light in these areas, and it helps make this look more three-dimensional. So I started in with both a lighter blue and a lighter green, but once I like how that gradient looks, I'm going back with a darker green to create even more value, more contrast, so it makes it look a little darker, and I'm adding the layer, and you can see it starts to help make this look a lot more smooth. So I'm not seeing these streaky lines as much of the colored pencil when I add lots and lots of layers. So to get a nice smooth effect with colored pencil, it just takes lots of time and layers. That's it.